What's up, boys? Welcome back to another private lesson. Today I have a very special guest for you guys. This may look like a barcode, but this is actually a REYNOR's Terran. He sent me a replay yesterday of him play against Drogo. Not sure why it's a barcode though, slightly disappointing, you know. Lowers a bit of the name value in the video, but that's alright. Promise you guys it's him. His MMR was actually pretty impressive, guys. In the loader screen I checked, he was 6,250 MMR. Obviously still a little bit below Mr. Drogo over here at 6'7". And now we're going to be criticizing REYNOR's Terran play. Obviously I'm going to have to pretend he makes more mistakes than he does. Because, you know, my Terran pride is on the line here. But yeah, let's see. I think REYNOR actually watches my videos, so I wouldn't be surprised if he also does one of my builds that I've uploaded before. So far everything's looking very standard. I'm happy there's no gas first gimmicks or anything like that. I actually want to see like a nice standard game here. Hope Drogo doesn't go for anything too crazy either. Yeah, let's see, guys. Let's see if he's afraid of the proxy gate. I'm genuinely curious. Whenever I see people offer this, you know, I'm used to it being like lower level players, so the game looks kind of weird anyway. But I wonder what like one of the best Zergs in the world looks like when he plays Terran, you know. And obviously because of his MMR, he's been practicing a bit at least. So I'm actually very curious. So we're gonna just go for the Reaper expand, no Marine first memes. Trying to hide the SCV, but Drogo a little bit too smart for that one. I like that he did an SCV scout. I tell you guys, if you want to be completely safe, you gotta go for that 18 SCV scout, you know. But he's playing against Drogo, he's playing good player. He trusts him. I can feel the faith, and I like it. So we're just gonna play standard. Probe takes a little 5 HP damage. That's a mental victory already. The yellow probe. That's a really fast bunker actually. This is the safest bunker I've ever seen. Normally, as you guys know, the second depot, this SCV is the one that makes the bunker. This was very early. I mean, he didn't scout, so maybe he was a little bit afraid, so that's okay. But it's actually a little bit fast, you know. As you can see, Drogo's going for a very fast adept, and you can see when it finishes. And the bunker is already finished, you know, you definitely could have delayed that for a little bit. Like I said, usually this SCV that makes the depot is the one that makes the bunker, and it would be in time. Yeah, the depot was a little bit late, so here it would have been a bit sketchy, but normally that's a perfectly safe way to do it. Well, it's looking pretty good. We're not gonna get owned by an adept because we have the bunker. Made a battery at home, which is not too big of a deal, but you know, does cost a few minerals at least. Adept won't be able to deny this. Actually, it's kind of close, but I don't think... No, he won't be able to. Okay. Like, it's always scary when they do 5 damage on the SCV and it's 2 hits away, you know. And we get a Twilight and a Robo. Looking like we're gonna see some tricks here for sure, I think. To me, this looks like... Could be a blink attack. Could be DTs. Or maybe just a very weird build. I don't know. Let's see what it is. And this replay is 16 minutes, so that's already like a... That's a nice spoiler for us in advance, you know. We know REYNOR's not gonna die anytime soon, so that's very nice. I think we only lost 1 SCV. Yeah, so it's looking really good so far. He made the Hellion, so he's gonna be able to scout everything out. Ooh, Adept gets into the main. This is a bad feeling. 2 Marines pop up at the exact right time. That's lucky. That's lucky, but it's nice. And the Hellion's coming in now. This Adept should probably die for sure. I feel like it's actually pretty bad though that the Reaper and the Hellion came back. I'm not sure if it was a panic and we F2'd or we just used the wrong army hotkey or something. But it's really important that you actually get into scout for the tech. Now we did scout the Twilight, but we did not see the really early Robo, which is also important. In this case, Drogo seems to be playing normal though. There's no 4th gate. That's honestly what I was expecting. So we're gonna get away with it. But I would definitely recommend to always try and get the follow-up scout on. You know, you want to see if there's like a probe heading towards the 3rd. The early Robo is actually a very important scout as well. Lack of gases, etc. So moving that Reaper and the Hellion back is a little bit problematic. But I mean, REYNOR doesn't know in this game, but as we can see, it's gonna be fine because there's nothing drastic headed our way. We're actually gonna go up to 4 gas on 2 bases, so we may even see some Robo Bay play here. Like I said, I was definitely expecting something cheeky after I saw the super fast robo. It was even like a 2:55 robo or something like that. Like a 3 minute 5 robo is already very fast, so that's pretty crazy. So a very standard play here from REYNOR. Like everything is literally the golden standard for Terran almost. Well, one thing I would actually recommend on this map, I think I said it before in a video as well, but against Blink, having your buildings here is really annoying. So if possible, try to place your factory and your starport here. Like exactly in this corner is the perfect spot. Here it will be like right here, like in between the minerals, you know. Because then you can make your add-ons here without blocking anything. And then you can more easily add production here without you know, having to be afraid for a blink. And like if you would blink in now, imagine you make a tank for it. The tank has to either siege here, which is super exposed, or all the way back here, and you're gonna end up losing your gas and stuff. So on this map, try to add your production a bit in the back. I think this might be a little bit strange for a Zerg player actually, because you're not used to make that many production buildings, right? But on this map, definitely try to build those a little bit in the back. In general, against blink heavy openers these days, thinking about where you put your barracks and stuff exactly is very important. No robo yet from Drogo. Was definitely expect to see that a bit earlier. Let's look at the this is very important as well. Let's see what we're gonna do with the Widow Mines. Blink is almost done. Okay, we're not gonna YOLO. Okay, this is perfect. I like it. You know, I told you guys before. If you know there's a threat, if you know there's like a low chance you're actually gonna get in, just AFK it here, and you're gonna see what happens. Somehow it looks to me like he can hit this, but I'm pretty sure it's safe as well. I don't know. It looks so close for some reason, but this is perfect because you're gonna see what happens. Normally, if you lose this medevac, let's say even you kill 6 probes, okay, a really good Widow Mine drop, you kill 6 probes. The Stalkers are gonna be able to go forward and just, I don't know, blink in, kill an add-on, or in this case even kill it from the low ground. Or every time you move out, they kill a Marine. Like 4 Stalkers, 1-shot a Marine, so you can actually lose a lot. But in this case, he has to keep at least 2 Stalkers here. Most of the time, they keep even more. Because against 2 Stalkers, you can YOLO drop still, right? And it doesn't really stop the medevac. Like you could fly in, drop the mines, and be safe here. So usually they keep even more Stalkers at home. And then you're way safer in your... you know, getting your 3rd, for example, or moving out. You're not going to have to deal with that many Stalkers kiting or even trying to snipe add-ons. So, I think the medevac here against Blink is a very good choice. This is very specific against Blink, though. Like, obviously, if you play against Stargate, if you can get in, you have to grab your chance. If you play against Robo, it's okay to YOLO as well. Your medevac's probably not going to die because there's no Blink, unless you fly into, like, 4 Stalkers already, you know. So here we're gonna see Robo and Forge. I think Drogo got a little bit like the better end of the build over here, playing Colossus against Widow Mine drop 3 ranks is pretty strong. Pushers usually don't get to do any damage. Now here's 5 Stalkers. It's still pretty annoying, like as you can see. It's obviously still way better than 8 Stalkers being at your front, right? And now curious what the follow-up is gonna be. Gonna drop in the main. Gonna lose the medevac for sure. Might get a few probes. Or maybe we have a boost again. Oh, we actually get out. Beast. Or not. Wait, what? Did he just lose the Stalkers? Where'd the Stalkers go? Nice. That's actually, that's like the best thing ever. Because now you can AFK the corner again. I really never expected that. It's kind of funny. Alright, 3rd CC coming down, that's good. If you play against Colossus play, which you could have scouted because of the gases on the natural, right? When your medevac was here, you would have seen the gases. I would recommend to get your 4th gas later and get your 3rd faster, because you only really need the 4th gas if you're gonna make like Liberators behind really fast. But against Colossus, there's a big time where you can't actually pressure. Like Colossus are really strong against bio-armies in the early game, because you're so marine heavy. Like later on you're gonna get more tech labs and more marauders, but early on you're very marine heavy. So there's a long time where you can't actually really attack, you can only do some drops and stuff. And you definitely can't really attack directly with Liberators. So in this case it's better to get the 3rd CC faster and the 4th gas a bit later. Ah, this is so annoying. I love it. You know, I play a lot of Protoss as well. Well, not these days, but I have played a lot, and I know how annoying it is to just have the freaking drop. That's why a lot of Protosses, right now not that much, but before, a lot of Protosses would play Stargate just for this reason, that there's like a medevac just idling in the corner, you know, and you don't have any Phoenix, and it's just really annoying. So they would just play it just so they don't have to deal with that. On maps like Port Alexander, where you have a lot of airspace. Second starport, that's pretty interesting actually. I'm gonna talk about that in a bit. Let's see. Now, like I said, with this push you have to be really careful. You can pressure well here, but as soon as the Colossus can get onto your Marines, you have to get out. Ooh, that's a poor blink by Drogo actually. Honestly, amazing fighter considering the, you know, the army composition. Probably overstanding a little bit here, yeah. Rule number 1, guys. A Colossus does not die with one of these bad boys, okay? It does not die. That was honestly a really good fight. Maybe you sticked around a little bit too long. In general, never try to push into Colossus with Marines. Like, let me show you guys quickly here. Like, the fight here starts off great, right? This is all fantastic, you're not taking a lot of damage from the swipes. But try to avoid this part, exactly this part, where you're pushing into Colossus with just the Marines, because I don't think he got any particularly big swipes off, but one hit with the Colossus is gonna almost kill like all these Marines, you know, like 7 at the front or something. Like, as you can see, they just die very fast. So always try to avoid the part where you stim into a Colossus with just Marines. Like, even if you're winning the fight, you kind of want to avoid that. Either put your Marauders at the front, if you don't have Marauders, back off a bit and heal your units. But like the Colossus, it's very scary. Like against Marines, if you're very heavy Marauder, it's actually okay. Like that's what I was talking about before. Later on, you get some more tech labs. If you're very heavy Marauder, it's actually very doable to fight into Colossus, and it's not that bad. But if you have Marines at the front, you might actually just lose like 10 supply right away. So if you scout Colossus play, especially in combination with all the gases you saw, I think it's a lot better to actually get a 4th tech lab on your barracks over here. Now this game is not that bad since you lost a lot of Marines already, but normally your Marine count is really high compared to your Marauder count, and your army composition ends up not being that great. So if you play against Colossus, I would definitely recommend to make this 4th one a tech lab as well and just get a lot of Marauders. Like, as you can see with the reactor, even though you lost a lot of Marines, you still have a high count. And you really don't want to end up having like 60% or more of your bio units in Marines. Like, it's against Colossus and later on against Storm as well, your army just becomes a little bit too flimsy. So if you play against high tech, definitely get that 4th tech lab going. Making the reactors more if you play against like a Zealot base style, you know? Like, imagine he doesn't have these gases or these gases, or you just know this is going, he's very Zealot heavy from the start, then you can add that reactor and make a lot more Marines. Another point here is that Widow Mines are not that great against Colossus. They're almost useless. They're only good for a drop. So in this case, if you play against Colossus, you want to use this reactor for the starport instead of making another one on a starport. Like, you could have started some Viking production earlier, you know. And yeah, making this Widow Mines, you have 9 Widow Mines already. Obviously, you have 2 here, so those don't count. 7 Widow Mines over here. It's just a little bit too much. The way I like to do it is I just make 4 from this, and push at the front, drop 4 Widow Mines in the natural or in the main, and then you switch that over to make a starport on it. So you have like a good harassment with the Widow Mines, but you don't overmake them. Like, especially against full gas saturation, they're not going to be that useful. As you can see, his army composition is 3 Colossus, 5 Zealots, 9 Stalkers, you know. The Widow Mines are not going to be super useful in that case. Armory's a little bit late, but that's not too bad. Also, a second starport was maybe a little bit too soon. Normally, you focus more on getting your 2-2 and then the second starport. As you can see in this case, like, Vikings are very expensive. A full round of Vikings from these starports with reactors is actually 600 minerals. And yeah, you're not going to be able to afford it that fast. So try to get your 2-2 first, or at least the armory and the engineering bay. And then you can focus on a second starport, because you can perfectly fine just make Vikings from a single reactor. Like, it's still 2 at a time. They build relatively fast as well, and then you get the second starport a bit later, and you can hit a nice 2-2 timing afterwards. Right now, as you can see, you're not actually able to afford any air units really, and that's I see this mistake a lot. It's very common. Like Vikings are just very very mineral expensive, you know. It's really nice in the later game when you just have a bunch of mineral expansions and you don't have that much gas. But at this point, it's a little bit expensive to start those. Oh, we did lose the Widowmine drop at some point. Let's see how far we're gonna go. Once again, like I said before, I'm just gonna say it quickly. These Widowmines don't add anything at the front to these Colossus really. Like if there's an observer here, they're gonna die very fast, and that's it, you know. Ideally, in this situation, you would have had this push at the front, and then 4 Widowmines, you know, here coming in. That's also the strength of Terran pushes, by the way, is that you like Terran pushes a lot of times. You have like a siege up position, like you have some Widowmines or some tanks that the Protoss player doesn't want to attack into, and it serves as a really big distraction for another drop. That's what's really strong about this. Now, it doesn't look like he has an observer here, so he can't clear those mines too well. Oh, now he has one, okay. A pretty good micro though, covering the Vikings with the mines, that's really nice. There's not enough army to battle here, but looks like we're gonna get away with a lot of it. Vikings getting a really good attack here, but once again, it's a little bit too marine heavy here to fight against the Colossus. As you can see in the production as well, those Colossus are doing an insane amount of damage. And yeah, the fight started off well, but yeah, I don't know, if you have 9 Widowmines and then you know, you have to walk all across this big map, your army composition is not going to be that great. If you had a lot more Marauders, then it would have been a good fight. Another good rule is also, if you do a timing attack in PvP, you aim it with Ghost or with your upgrades. Like I talk a lot about the 1-1 timing or the 2-2 timing, and you can go for either. So if you want to do the 1-1 timing, it's just like against Colossus. I'm talking about against Colossus, by the way. If you want to go for the 1-1 timing, you just go for single starport Vikings. You make 4 medevacs and then the Vikings. But medevacs are very important, by the way, here. If medevacs are way more important than Vikings. If you don't have any, you need to make medevacs. Always have at least 4 with your army. Anyway, if you do a 1-1 timing, you get the single starport with the Vikings. And then, you know, at like 30% or 20% of your +1 armor, you get a Ghost Academy. And then you line up those ghosts with the upgrades for the timing attack. And in this case, you were set up pretty well for a 2-2 timing. You traded a lot in the early game, you lost some supply. So a 1-1 timing wouldn't have been as strong, but you could have gone for a 2-2 timing. Your armory was a bit late, so your 2-2 would have been almost finished. And then you could have gone double starport. Once again, try to sync the Ghost Academy with your upgrades, because having 3 ghosts with your timing attack is just really strong. Like, I'm not a fan of mass ghosts, but having like a few ghosts with your timing attack actually makes it so much better. Like, imagine an EMP on this army, it would be really juicy. And yeah, that's the way you set up your timings basically in PvP. 2-2 is like 30% done, you start the Ghost Academy, and then you hit with 3 ghosts, appropriate Viking count. And that's it. But yeah, the main issue this game is definitely the army composition. Like, you're making too many Marines, you're still making mines. I know this is probably because you're a Zerg player, you know, making a lot of mines, but yeah, mines actually not that great at all here. If anything, you drop them. Like, you have so many Widow mines. Some drops here could still be okay, you know. A drop on this undefended base, maybe it could win you the game. I would still not recommend making more than like, you know, 4 or 6 in total. 2 for the early Widow mine drop, 4 for a follow-up Widow mine drop. But now your army composition ends up basically being Marine Viking mine, which is, yeah. The Marines in general don't do that great against this kind of army. Marines are basically just anti-zealot, okay? That's pretty much the rule. Marines are anti-zealot. They're pretty okay against Archons if you have a layer in front of them. But besides that, Marines don't really do that well against these ranged units. Not well, against the Disruptors, it's the same as a Marauder, I guess. But not against the Colossus, not against Storm. Against Archons, you know, it's okay, but if the Archons get onto them, they do a lot of damage. So you really need to way more Marauder heavy. I usually try to be like 50-50 or maybe a few more Marauders. And as you can see, your ratio is about 80-20. So that's, yeah, it's the Marine Marauder ratio is very off here. Too many mines as well. I think your army still looks pretty decent. Honestly, if those mines were like more bio units, it'd be pretty okay. You have a good Viking count. Once again, really try to get 4 medevacs. Like, stims are deadly, man. Like, 1 stim, you know, how many Marines do we have? like 40 marines here is like 400 damage. It's like 600 damage basically. One stem is doing 600 damage to your own army here. So if you don't have enough medevacs to heal that up, that could be very painful. He's helping you out a little bit here. He's killing some mines, so you have a better army composition. That's good. Very nice by him. Yeah, honestly... Oh, what is that blink? This fight is so scary just because of the high marine count. You see, if those colossus get a swipe here, everything is dead. That's the scary part. I feel like with perfect control, you could probably still make something happen. Like, this is a pretty good move, running by, getting some reinforcements. You always need to be in a concave, though. Really, really big rule for... Oh, that recall. That's a pretty big mistake. He's bleeding a lot. This is a pretty good move. A big rule, though, is a Terran army always needs to be in a concave, okay? You can never really fight close like this. It's just... Yeah, it just never works. Like, you can tell this fight's gonna be a disaster just because it's so clumped up. Good micro on the Vikings. You're gonna salvage it a little bit, but still not really a good fight if you look at the bank. Income, you just launched a bunch of mules, I think. Really good income, actually. Good. Oh, you actually have a perfect SCV count as well, 71. That's very nice. Yeah, your income is buzzing, look at that. And his income is not that buzzing. Ah, that's why, okay. Yeah, really good income management, I have to say that. Upgrades looking pretty okay. Still making riddle mines, though. Calm down, Mark, calm down. And now you're getting, I feel like every time your army dies, you make a better army composition a little bit. Like, now you have a few less marines, sadly you're making them again. Always try to have a few ghosts, though. Like, if you lose your ghost, just to prepare for a fight, always try to get, like, the way I make 3 ghosts. Against this army, I would make 3 ghosts just for the EMP beforehand, you know. Just, like, send a few ghosts forward, EMP everything, and then go in. That's how I would do it. If you play against gateway style, so Zealot, Stalker, Archon, making more ghosts is actually pretty good. Basically, the more Archons they have, the more ghosts you want, because Archon can actually die to EMP pretty much. Like, if there's like a ball of 7 Archons and you EMP it 5 times, then the Archons will actually literally disappear. But if it's not like mass Archon, mass Zealot, then you pretty much have to just go for the 3 ghosts, I think. This is a shame. You had the Widowmines in position, but not the turret. Yeah, this is a really hard move to deal with. You probably noticed this if you play Terran. There's nothing you can do against it reactively. You just need to be prepared. You know, that's it. You need to expect that it's coming. The Widowmines were here. That was really good. They were probably meant for a Zealot run-by. Maybe you didn't expect the DT run-by yet, but at some point, if you get your 4th, just put some turrets down. Like, there needs to be a turret here. A good way to deal with DTs as well, so you have 1 turret at the front, like right here, and you just rally your barracks onto it. So if there's like a DT run-by in the main or whatever, your reinforcement will just kill it. And then obviously every planetary needs to have a mine or a liberator and the turret next to it. And at this point it's gonna be really tough. If you... The hard part about the run-bys is that you don't have like a proper... I mean, you know this from playing Zerg, right? A proper infrastructure set up. Like, at this point, there's no planetary anymore, so you always need to have an army back to deal with it. And, yeah, these TTs have blink, even, so that's gonna be really tough without the proper setup. These are 5 colossus, actually, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, a lot of PvP fights are just about army composition, you know? Like, at this point, you have, like, 1 Viking for each colossus, which is not enough. Usually you want, like... I would say about 3. 3 Vikings per colossus is fine. Now, 15 Vikings does sound like a bit much. You could probably get away with having 12 Vikings as well. As long as you have the 3 ghosts. You do have the 4 medevacs, which is nice. Marauder count looking pretty good, to be honest. Marine count ideally still a little bit too high. This is an example of an army that's like 3 times as weak without... If you EMP it, by the way. If you get like those Archons out of the game, Sentries get EMP'd, this army would actually die very fast. This army relies on Guardian Shield, Force Fields, you know, Archons being able to tank. This is an army that's very weak against EMPs. If you see this, you could actually really use a few ghosts. He blinks in. That's bad-mannered. At this point, all that's left to try is probably like a 3-3 timing, you know. Without the ghosts, it probably can't work. It's a good move, though. Trying to go for the attack here. Another tip I can give you actually is if you have a lot of Marines, just double click or control click your Marines and put them in the back. Because Marauders actually don't take that much damage from Colossus at all. Marauders take like half damage or something like that, and they can tank really well. And a Marine, it's all DPS, but it has no staying power, especially against Protoss units. If the Marines are in the back and they shoot everything, they do so much damage, but if they're actually being attacked, they die very fast. So a good tip I can give is to just, yeah, select all the Marines and put them behind your army just a bit, so the Marauders can tank. Then they will be forced to do Colossus Focus Fire. If they don't, then they might get owned. This is an insane fight actually when he's going down the ramp. That's pretty nuts. This is the best fight ever. All the Marauders on the Colossus as well. This is actually an insane fight. This battery is going to help him out a lot though. Those units at the bottom are not going to die. Colossus is a bit too strong on the top as well. And GG. Honestly, a nice game. Strategically, it was good. We took some good fights. The main problem, like I said, is just the army composition, I think. Yeah, the armory was a bit late. When the first time you attacked, like down here, or the second time, I guess, you didn't really hit a timing. With Terran, you always need to try to hit your timing, so get your 1-1 with the Ghost, or get you 2-2 with the Ghost and a lot of Vikings, you know. That would have been really good, but especially pay attention to that army composition. I think this game you probably made like 30 mines, instead of like 4 or 6, you know, so that's way too many. Too many Marines for sure, but besides that it was pretty good. You stick pretty close to the 4 medevac, rest Vikings ratio, 3 Vikings per Colossus, 4 medevacs is pretty good. Probably could have made a few more Ghosts as well. Like, you don't want too many Ghosts in your army, but just having a few to EMP before the fight helps a lot. But yeah, that's it. I honestly really enjoyed this game. It was very cool. Hope you guys learned a lot as well. Thank you for submitting the replay, REYNOR, of course. And see you guys next time. Adios.